Robert Lyon was on cloud nine recently. Everything seemed to go in the 20-year-old's favor. So on a whim, he decided to approach the beautiful schoolteacher he had his eye on and ask her on a date. To his surprise, she agreed, and they planned to meet up in a few days at the local footbridge. When the day of the date finally came, Robert made it to their meeting spot, but as he waited, he began to have second thoughts. His good friend John Wilson was also sweet on Elizabeth, but she made it very clear she had no intention of pursuing a life with him. Robert never seen John so furious. He muttered to himself and left the area altogether. But before he could think too deeply into the matter, Elizabeth arrived. She was as beautiful as ever. Any notions of fear and remorse Robert had quickly faded, and the two made their way into the small town of Perth to hopefully begin the first of many dates. Unfortunately, Robert should have taken John's anger more seriously, as in a few days, one of these men would be dead. Hello, my name is Joseph Palmer, and today I wanted to talk about Canada's last fatal duel, which occurred in Perth on June 13th, 1883, between a dispute of former friends over a schoolteacher named Elizabeth Hughes. Now, without further ado, let's begin. John Wilson and Robert Lyon had similar lives. They were both law students who came to Perth to study under the prominent established barristers. Lyon was the son of a Scottish officer in the British Army and a handsome athlete with aristocratic ideals and associations. Wilson was the opposite. He was a man from the country who supported himself without any establishment connections. It was in Perth that he met Lyon and a young school teacher from England by the name of Elizabeth Hughes. Hughes was beautiful, attracting many suitors in the small town. According to an account by Judge Edward Short, Wilson, like many, was quite taken by this young woman, who apparently did not reciprocate. Deflated and heartbroken, Wilson left for Bytown, a small town nearby. Not long after he left, another suitor arrived. His name was Henry Lee Lever. Lee Lever was a gregarious pal of Robert Lyon, and the two took the young Mrs. Hughes on a date, where it was said that, quote, Lyon put his arms around her in a position which no woman of spirit would permit. People in small towns began to talk, and word of the event eventually reached Wilson's ears. He was furious. His friend went behind his back and took the girl he loved out on a date. John wrote a letter to a friend, stating that Lyon should be confronted for his actions. Lyon found out about the letter and informed Wilson it was all a joke, and nothing actually happened. Wilson did not believe him, and the two men soon met on the streets of Perth, where they got into a fight. Lyon knocked Wilson to the ground, causing blood to pour down his face. Wilson asked his former friend if they could work things out, but Lyon at this point refused. Wilson, trying to preserve his dignity and feeling a need to gain the respect of the town again, challenged Lyon to a duel. He accepted, and the two men agreed to a pistol duel on the morning of June 13th. The duel took place across the Scotch line, on the outskirts of town, with Wilson accompanied by his friend, Simon Robertson, and Lyon accompanied by his pal Lee Lever. Using a dueling pistol set acquired from a local store, the two met in a rain-soaked field by the Tay Canal, near what is now South Street. According to the surgeon present, a first shot was fired, but both parties had missed. Wilson and Lyon then both suggested they would like to reconcile, but Lee Lever would not hear of it, and reloaded Lyon's pistol. Lyon aimed his gun at Wilson. Wilson, however, fired first, and his bullet pierced Lyon's right breast, puncturing his lungs and killing him. Wilson, laden with guilt for killing his former friend, turned himself into the local authorities. The trial was held in Brockville, where Wilson acted as his own lawyer, giving a passionate self-defense of his actions. It worked, and his testimony resulted in his acquittal. He left Perth in 1834 to open a law practice in London, Ontario. He married a young woman and started a family. Her name was Elizabeth Hughes. It seemed the schoolteacher's feelings towards Wilson altered after the duel. Wilson would later become judge of the Superior Court and be elected to the Legislative Assembly of the province of Ontario. Today, the pistols of the last duel reside in a small display case at the local Perth Museum, where a small card explains their significance. In 1974, the fatal dual pistols were mysteriously stolen from the Perth Museum, but were later found buried in front of the town hall. Lyon's zealous pal, La Lever, fled the country immediately after the incident. A search for Robert Lyon reveals his grave sits quietly in a small cemetery outside of the town, meters away from where he fell. His headstone reads, "Friendship, offering dedicated to the memory of Robert Lyon, a student at law. He fell in mortal combat, 13th of June, 1833, in the 20th year of his age." John Wilson and Robert Lyon were close friends who happened to fall in love with the same woman. Jealousy and pride overtook the two men, causing both to do the unthinkable. Hopefully both men were able to find peace in the hereafter, and finally, forgive each other. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to make more videos for you soon.